What's good, people? It's Dan with the Corporate Beat Beats. You're back with another beat making tutorial or beat making showcase. This is a little few video series of me showing you how I create my beats in Logic Pro X. And today's beat is completely different than the previous beats that I've made already. The other beats that I've created are very evidently heard in hip hop music. This one is a little bit different. I have tons of different music influences. I grew up listening to rock music and acoustic guitar music. Um, I got into hip hop late from a friend of mine in college. I like some EDM and dance music too, but I don't really like a lot of it. But I respect it and I like learning from it too because there's great skills to learn from other genres of music. But today I'm going to be showing you something that's a little bit weird. I think it was the artist known as Giggs. He's a British rap artist, kind of influenced this beat from some of his songs like Whippin' and Excursion, and he's an artist here in the UK. He's a really good rapper. I really like the way he raps. It's not all the time about the way their lyrics is important to me. I like the way a rapper can deliver his lines. That's why I'm a big fan of Rick Ross. I don't really like all the content that he raps about. I don't understand a lot of the content Rick Ross or Gigs rap about, but I just love the way that their style of rapping is, and I love the music behind their tunes as well, or the beats behind their raps. Today's one is going to be a trap EDM type beat. Yes, it's a very weird kind of mix for me, especially. I do like this kind of music, but I don't think it's very appealing to hip hop artists in America. A lot of the people that buy my beats or use my beats are from America or from other parts in the world. Not really the UK. Very few people actually use my beats from the UK, but a small percentage of them. But I do like the idea of the hip hop beats that the UK market produces. They have huge influence in American style music, but they still try and drag it back to garage, that underground sound that England is associated with, especially within hip hop or trip hop and all these kind of individual genres in Britain. But today's one is similar to what Gigs would rap over. So it's still at a tempo for an hip hop artist to rap on, but it's not aggressive enough. It can be tweaked if a hip hop artist wanted to remove sounds and stuff. There isn't a lot in here. It's the drops, it's the actual sounds that I picked that are really important here, and it's the a lot of dance music has this kind of repetitive sound that kind of goes on for a while, and then all these sounds come in and out. So it's not really verse, chorus, verse. I do have it structured a little bit verse, chorus, verse, but it is the verses have different sections within them. So little sounds like an EDM song would be built, and that's my whole goal with this song. But it's really meant to hype the audience. That's what I really wanted to do. I really wanted that insane 808 to just rumble in the background, just to, like the dance kind of the dance kind of EDM sound that would kind of be metronomic over and over again, like that's a kind of a cool kind of repetitive sound that's over and over used in EDM music, and I kind of repeated that kind of movement, but with the 808 from trap music, and kind of use the electronic sounds in the background like my EDM influences. But still, there's lovely pockets for rap artists to rap over. So we go through the standard way that I introduce my beats. I'll go through the intro and the verse. I won't play the whole section of it. There's a link in the description so you can hear the complete beat. Just listening over to this now, it's pretty insane. There's cool little effects in it, and it has a nice vibe to it. but I'll just listen to little sections and talk about it because I don't want the tutorial to go on too long. Some of my tutorials have been hitting the 20 and 30-minute mark, which I think is too long for anyone to sit at one sitting, but I don't want comments saying that I left out how to do this, or I didn't show you how I did that, or what sounds I used here and there. So I'm gonna try and do it my best as quick as possible and still give you guys some value. Anything that I use in the description will be in the YouTube links below. Plus, there's always a corresponding blog post at thecorporatebeats.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you feel that you learned something from this today. Okay, starting off with the intro and the verse, I'll just play a little section. This is called In My Blood. Boom. And that's where I'm going to pause it. I really wanted to leave the drop on there at the end so you guys get a feel of what it sounds like. There is differences in this verse compared to the next verse and the verse after that, but I don't want to play the whole beat because it's too long. But we will just look at these sections here. Okay, we'll just start off with what I'm using first, and the intro is comprised of the 808 bass line. So we'll listen to what that is. This is the kind of movement that I was looking for throughout the whole beat. You see this commonly in the EDM music where it just goes and it has that kind of common drum pattern going through the whole thing. But I replaced that metronomic sound with the 808 from trap music, and I'll play this now. Okay, it's a heavily compressed 808 sound. It's very squashed. It's very aggressive with its distortion, but I like that aggressiveness. I want it to peek through, and I want it to rumble in the background. I really want that, because when I play this on my speakers, I know I'm listening on the headphones now, it just sounds just a little bit too light for me. When you put this on some wicked speakers, and you can hear it rumble, and I love that sound. I would love to. I used to be a part of the theater, and I'm not so much anymore. But anytime I got to some different theaters, I used to just have an hour or two to play around just to test each theater's speaker system, and I would love to actually play this in a theater and just see what the sound would sound like. But I don't have that option at the moment. But who knows what will happen in the future. We'll take a look at the MIDI of this 808, and it's pretty basic. It's kind of just a continuation of one note, really, over and over, played it over and again, and there's some kind of skips within that one note, and it's pretty simple. pretty aggressive. One second, we'll actually duplicate that little section because I do have the freeze section on just so I can save on CPU when I'm actually streaming this here. One second now. Okay, and we'll just take a look at the EQ first so see what I actually have done. You can see that I've scooped out for my kick, and that's where my kick's going to peek through. You can hear it's a bit noisy there, so let's put that back in again and tighten it up. Sounds a bit dirty. EQ is really clean that 808 up. All it is an 808 within my library. It's 808 bassline, and I just kind of tweaked it to my liking, and that's usually with this overdrive. The plugins within Logic these days, I just think they're just wicked. I always can find what I'm actually looking for. I think plugins have gotten so much better, and especially the compressors within Logic, I think they're pretty wicked. But I tend to use the overdrive like a compressor now. A lot of people use FL Studio. Nothing wrong with the program. I just use Logic, but a lot of them kind of have their specific tools to kind of aggressively attack the 808, bass line or the 808 kick, and I don't have those tools, so I usually use the overdrive within within Logic, and I think it acts really good as a compressor. We'll just hear without the overdrive and without the EQ. Obviously, I've tuned it as well. I use the tuner as well just to help me make sure it's in key with everything. It sounds really rough, and we'll just stick those back on again. And it sounds much better now with those. Plus, I have it heavily compressed, bust out to a sidechain here. Not a sidechain, sorry, my parallel compression, where I have another compressor on there. So again, some more overdrive, and I've cut more of the low end off again. And that's on the bus. So I've just busted out, just came over here. We'll go back to the 808. And I see that I've added a bus, and I've just kind of fed it through to bus 4 and added some compression on there as well. And you can see it's the VCA squeeze that's really giving it. So basically I have my original sound and I mixed in my very heavily compressed 808 compression. And that's just the way I mix my beats. I will delete that now again and move on. Next is the voodoo sound. What's this about? Let's see. Okay, this sound is really weird, but what the whole beat actually reminds me of a band in the UK called The Prodigy. I'm a huge fan of The Prodigy. I've seen them twice playing live, and they're probably one of the best bands I've ever seen live. I wouldn't say I still listen to them a lot these days, but from time to time I usually look over their old stuff and I kind of listen to them again. I go through phases where I love certain types of music, but I've seen The Prodigy and they're just insane. And these kind of sounds in this beat is very similar to what The Prodigy would use, especially this kind of voodoo sound, especially when they have a song called Voodoo as well. We'll just look at the 808, or sorry, the EQ. I've cut everything below 200 Hertz. I've cut everything below 500 Hertz. We have some overdrive on there as well, and we have a linear EQ, and its sound itself comes from Massive, and I've probably just tweaked it until I've got the sound that I wanted. And you can hear it. It's a weird, very weird of an effect. There's no way to even explain what it sounds like. It sounds like a frog gurgling in the background. Okay, and we'll just look at the MIDI. I think it's just a drone of one note, and that's the same note as the 808. And just to add atmosphere in the background, that's all. Next is the same note played with the binary Dream, all right, and that's another massive synth. Cut some at 200 and cut a little bit here at the dip here as well, around between 2K and 5K, just to make space for other sounds that will kind of dominate that section of the mix. Now this is acting like my EDM sound. The way EDM music is created is like sounds come in, sounds come on, like a live DJ would do it. So that's how they have that beat, that 4 on the floor beat that keeps playing over and over again. They pull stuff in, pull stuff out, and that's what I'm using with this particular sound. And it sounds similar to like a pad sound, like a very wide pad sound. Okay. Next up is the Your House organ, and we'll just see what that sounds like. It's a very basic melody, if I have to be honest. It was probably pretty lazy of me, but it seems to work within the mix, so I left it there. Sometimes I don't fight it. I just think, yeah, if it works, I'll leave it there. Listening back on its own, it sounds a bit like a nursery rhyme, but it sounds okay. It's a weird sound, so I'm happy with that. I like the sound itself more than the actual composition of the melody. Sounds like an old Wurtzeler piano, and you can see that it's in massive, plus it's got cut at 200 hertz and at 5K or 7K, sorry, my mistake. Next is a similar sound again. We'll just, I've already showed you the MIDI of that. Same thing again, sorry. Again, this just sounds like this kind of weird piano sound. Nothing crazy, it's copying the same cheesy melody that I have there. And then the last one is Community. And this one is playing something weird here. It's only playing certain notes at certain sections, just to accentuate the notes of this piano. So we just play them all together. And that's just some kind of weird kind of production trick where you kind of just play little notes here and there just to accentuate some notes. And there's nothing complicated there. It's pretty basic, if I can be honest. This is a cool little vocal sample that I flipped. And one second, we'll just... One second now. It's got some reverb on it. One second now. We'll just kind of zoom in on that. And this is just a sound that I found in a pack. There's nothing crazy. One second, cancel that, and we'll just download that again. Let's see what we did here. One second now. Maybe I didn't flip it. Maybe it was some kind of sound that I found in a pack altogether. I thought it was a sound that I kind of reverse. We'll just see if I can do that. I think I flipped that sample. I just reversed it. Yeah, some kind of weird sample, like common sample that's in most kits and stuff like that I get online. A second, we'll just play that again because I did flip it. That's what I just did, just to make it sound different than what most people would be using. So most people wouldn't actually flip the actual sample, and then a lot of people would have the same sound. So I kind of just stuck some reverb on it and flipped it. It's just some kind of sample I got from some pack somewhere, and then I just flipped it. And just kind of has just a difference, just to be a little bit different. Plus it fits with the mix as well, so that's the good thing. And this kind of happens in specific sections of the track as well, to kind of accentuate the drop as well. So you'll hear it all together before the verse comes in, okay? Okay, you can see with the drums, when the drums come in, that there's certain sections with different parts of the instrumentation from the intro play here and there, like an EDM song. There's 2 additional sounds down here. We'll just take a listen to them, what they sound like. This is really weird for me because it's actually, I love that kind of weird sound, but it's surprisingly clean. Like you're probably thinking, are you mad? It sounds dirty and nasty. Actually, when you solo that, you can feel it's got its own little pocket in the mix. There's kind of a weird, it's still got its original aggressiveness, which I wanted to do to cut in and out of the mix. So it's kind of it's almost like it's sidechained. It's not actually sidechained. It's just the way I've actually cut the MIDI at certain notes. But it actually sounds like a little bit like it's sidechained the way it cuts off so quickly. It has so one is actually pan left and one is pan right. They're both from Massive. They're called Miss Piggy. 1 second now. They're both the same sound, and we'll just take a look at the MIDI. So most people just want to see what the MIDI is and what I did for it. It's got a weird little kind of drop sound in the background. I think when I was creating this, that the more I tried to EQ it, the more I was losing the aggression that I wanted to cut through the mix. So I kind of left it in. And some music producers, engineers would kind of disagree with me that I need to get rid of that drop sound out of it. I don't know, when I'm kind of listening back, and if it was, when I think it's louder, it's hard to kind of judge it when you're listening on the headphones, but when it's louder in the speakers and the whole beat kicks in, you kind of don't hear that little drop. But maybe I should kind of cut that little kind of section a little bit more. Maybe that's a bit of a discrepancy in my part, but I find that the synthesizer just cuts through the mix so well. We'll just kind of listen to it quick here. Okay, and there's not much to it. We'll just show you the EQ that I did. Anything was 200. There's some overdrive on there as well, some linear EQ. It's bussed out to two reverb effects chains, maybe a delay and a reverb. There's one there. It's both 2 different reverbs, sorry, and this one has a cut on it just like that. It's called Prince Hall 1. and that's where it gets that heavy. It's probably drenched in reverb, and I just mix in the reverb with it, with the original sound. So the reverb is actually pretty high. We'll just listen to the reverb on its own and see what it sounds like. And we'll listen to the song without any reverb. It's quick to see how plain it sounds without the reverb. See what happens when I take out any of my parallel compression. Like I've told you before in multiple tutorials, I don't usually put compressors on each individual instrument. You can specifically see that I've used overdrive a lot in this, which kind of defeats what I'm just saying. But sometimes the 808s, I like the way the nastiness of the overdrive cuts in through the song. And I'm kind of using it for the distortion a little bit more than the actual compression part. Just to make it a little bit nasty without kind of fattening the sound or kind of squashing the sound too much. I still want a little bit of dimension in there, even though it's an electronic song. You can see without the effects how boring it sounds. It's insane how much life these effects can put into it. And that's just my parallel compression. A lot of my parallel compression is very aggressive. So we'll just take a look at my drum. This is my overall drum, and I've put some clip distortion on it. I put on some VCA squeeze. That's a preset within this, and these compressors usually mimic real life compressors. I think this one is kind of trying to be like the DBX, or no, this one's trying to be like the DBX. There's another one there is trying to be like what's the other one that I was using one time? The Neve. There's one here that kind of reminds me of the Neve. I'm not sure which one it was like that. I can't remember which one it is, but maybe it's one of the VCA faders. But this one reminds me so much of the DBX. This one was the actual one he used. I don't know why. I just mix with him, and once I find that I'm happy with my mix, I usually stick with it. You could spend hours tweaking stuff, if I'd be honest. And that's really the crux of the beat. I just need to go through the drums pretty quickly. The drums are pretty basic. They kind of follow the same pattern throughout the whole song. It's not really the trap element like a common trap beat. Is more of an EDM meets hip hop, really, if I have to be honest. Maybe I kind of should have said that at the start, but just a kick. And bring in the snare. Bring in some hi-hats. Hi-hats are just a bit crazy. There's and there's a second hi-hat. And that's really it with the drums. You can see they're pretty basic. There's nothing really with it. It's mainly the driving sound of the 808 and the introduction and the release of certain instruments within the mix. The drums seem a bit anticlimactic there, but when you put it all together and you get the instrumentation coming in and out and you get the drops within the track, we'll just see if we can find some more of the drops in the track. Because if you're playing this like live in a stadium or something like that, or in an event hall or something like that, the drops would be the focal point of it to kind of rally the crowd. the end of the track. That's the end of the song. It sounds a bit Kendrick Lamar as well. You could hear Kendrick Lamar on this beat as well. And that's really the crux of the beat. Now, you guys, if you like this beat, don't forget to hit a thumbs up, because it will help me kind of spread the beat on YouTube. Plus, leave a comment if there's something I didn't do, or if I didn't show you properly. Leave a comment, and don't forget, if you think someone might be interested in this beat, let them know about it as well, because it's available at thecorporatethiefbeats.com. Check you out in the next video, guys. Take care. Bye.